3 minutes ago, a single decision was made that will echo across continents, rewrite alliances, and ignite a fire in the hearts of millions. Not in the halls of Washington, not in the war rooms of Moscow, but deep beneath the red earth of Ouagadougou, in a high-security bunker known only as the Vault. A 34-year-old leader named Captain Ibrahim Traore did the unthinkable. He burned a $2.3 billion foreign deal and chose freedom instead. No drones, no foreign military aid, no instant wealth, just a nation's dignity restored. This is not a news report. This is a story, a fictional vision of what could happen when a leader says no, not out of pride, but out of principle, inspired by real struggles across Africa, sovereignty, foreign influence, youth uprisings. This is a tale of courage, resistance, and the quiet revolution that begins not with war, but with a single choice. So lean in, because what happened in those final 3 minutes changed everything. The room was cold, concrete walls, flickering overhead lights, a long steel table surrounded by men and women in military uniforms, intelligence, officers, and economic advisors. At the head sat Ibrahim Traore, his face marked by a scar from a northern ambush, his eyes sharp, unblinking. On the table before him, a single document, the Trans-Saharan Strategic Partnership Agreement, 27 pages, billions in foreign investment, advanced surveillance drones, satellite monitoring, military training, infrastructure support. All guaranteed if Burkina agreed to 3 conditions. 1. Allow permanent foreign military presence at 2 strategic bases. 2. Grant exclusive mining rights to gold, lithium, and rare earth minerals to a foreign consortium. 3. Remain neutral and silent on all international conflicts involving the partner nation. On paper, it was salvation, a lifeline for a country still healing from years of instability, terrorism, and economic isolation. But Traore saw beyond the numbers. He saw control. He saw dependency. He saw the ghost of colonization, not with flags or force, but with contracts and code. "Mr. President," said General Diarra, leaning forward, "this deal secures our defense for the next decade. Our enemies are still active in the north. We cannot fight alone." Traore didn't look up. "And what happens," he asked, "when their defense becomes our leash?" Silence. The room held its breath, because they all knew the truth. This wasn't just about security. It was about sovereignty. For decades, African nations had signed deals that looked like progress, but felt like surrender. Ports leased for 99 years. Mines operated with little local benefit. Governments pressured to vote a certain way at the UN, all in exchange for aid. Traore had studied history. He knew how empires worked. Not by conquest, but by consent, and he refused to give it. Slowly, he stood. "Let me tell you a story," he said. "When I was a boy, my grandfather farmed a small plot near Fadangurma. He grew millet, raised goats, and lived off the land. One year, a foreign company came. They offered him a deal. Use their seeds, their fertilizer, their brand. In return, they'd buy his entire harvest at a fixed price. He agreed. The first year, he made more than ever. The second year, the price dropped. The third year, the soil was poisoned by chemicals. By the fourth, he couldn't grow anything without their products. He was no longer a farmer. He was a tenant on his own land. When he tried to go back to traditional seeds, they said, 'Too late. The soil won't support it.' That's when he told me, 'Son, the most dangerous chains are the ones you don't feel.' That's what this deal is. A chain, invisible, but real." He picked up the contract, and without another word, he lit it on fire. The flames rose, the room froze, and in that moment, a new era began. That night, Traore addressed the nation. No suit, no podium, just a man in uniform standing in front of the presidential palace, the firelight dancing behind him. "My people," he said, "tonight I rejected a deal worth over $2 billion, not because we don't need the money, but because we need our freedom more." The crowd erupted. Not in the capital alone, but in villages, in refugee camps, in universities across the country. because for the first time in years they heard a leader who didn't speak of aid, but of dignity. They said we were too poor to say no, too weak to stand alone. But I say this, a nation that sells its soul for survival is already dead. The next morning, the world reacted. Some called it madness. Editorials in global newspapers called Traore reckless, naive, a threat to stability. One world leader, known for his aggressive foreign policy, was reportedly shocked beyond words. He walked away from billions. For pride, he said in a private briefing, but in Africa the reaction was different. In Mali, President Assani delayed a nearly identical deal with the same consortium. In Niger, the National Assembly demanded a full audit of all foreign contracts, and in Ghana, students marched under banners that read, "We choose freedom." The hashtag went viral. Within 48 hours, it had over 10 million views. Artists created murals. Musicians dropped protest tracks. Farmers pledged to grow only local crops. This wasn't just a political move. It was a cultural awakening, and the youth, 67% of the population under 25, were at the front, because for them, this wasn't just about gold or drones. It was about identity. Who gets to decide Africa's future? Foreign boards, international banks, or the people who live here? In the weeks that followed, Burkina launched Operation Zudo 2.0, a national campaign to achieve food sovereignty within 3 years. The government distributed over 500,000 free seed kits, all native crops, millet, sorghum, fonio. Farmers were trained in organic, drought-resistant farming, and for the first time, local markets were prioritized over export chains. Then came the Gold Sovereignty Initiative. No more raw gold shipped overseas. Instead, Burkina began, building its own refineries, powered by solar energy, staffed by local engineers. The message? We mine it, we refine it, we profit from it. Small startups emerged overnight, jewelry makers, tech firms using gold and circuitry, even a new national currency backed by mineral reserves. This was economic resistance, and it was working. But the real revolution? It was in education. Over 5,000 schools had been closed due to insecurity. So Traore didn't wait. He launched the Bioclimatic School Project, eco-friendly schools built with natural ventilation, solar panels, and shaded courtyards to withstand extreme heat. And for children in war zones, Radio ECOWAS, a solar-powered radio network that broadcast lessons daily. No internet needed, no infrastructure, just knowledge. Teachers recorded lessons in Moor, Dioula, and French. Kids listened on donated radios under trees in safe zones. One 12-year-old girl in Jibo said, "I used to think war would steal my future. Now I know. Learning is my rebellion." That phrase spread like wildfire. Learning is my rebellion. Printed on T-shirts, graffitied on walls, shared across Africa, and then the final move. Burkina, Mali, and Niger announced the formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, a new military and economic bloc. No foreign military bases, no conditional aid, just 3 nations standing together. They pledged visa-free travel, shared energy grids, joint defense, and a new principle. No deal is binding if it compromises sovereignty. The old regional bloc, ECOWAS, issued a cold statement. But the people, they celebrated, because for the first time, Africa was writing its own rules. Of course, the road wasn't easy. Sanctions came, diplomatic isolation. Some foreign investors pulled out, but others saw opportunity. Turkish engineers helped build roads. Brazilian. Agronomists shared drought-resistant techniques. Russian military advisors offered training without base rights. The key? Balance. Partnerships, not dependencies. Cooperation, not colonization. And as the months passed, something remarkable happened. Tourism returned. Not luxury resorts, but eco-tourism. Travelers came to see the Banfora waterfalls, domes of Abadugo, Grand Mosque of Bobo Dioulasso, not as spectators, but as students. They wanted to learn. How did a nation rebuild without foreign aid? How did youth lead a silent revolution? What did freedom actually look like? One German journalist wrote, "I came to report on a crisis. I left inspired by a renaissance. And then, the ultimate symbol of change." Uwaga Innovation Hub opened in the capital. Tech campus built entirely by African engineers, powered by solar energy, teaching AI, coding, and renewable energy. No foreign curriculum. No Western textbooks. Just African solutions for African problems. Students designed drones not for war, for crop monitoring, apps to track water sources, solar desalination units. This was the new generation. Not waiting. For permission. Building the future, now. And Captain Traore? He didn't claim victory. At a rare press conference, he said, "I did not change Burkina Faso. The people did. Only refused to stand in their way." Today, the nation still faces challenges. Poverty, climate change, security threats. But the spirit? Unbroken. And the youth? They're no longer asking, "Can we survive?" They're asking, "How fast can we rise?" Now I ask you, what would you have done if you were in that bunker, $2.3 billion on the table, and your nation's future in your hands? Would you sign or would you burn it? Let us know in the comments. The most powerful, honest, or personal reply will be pinned. If this story moved you, smash that like button. Subscribe. Because next week, the island that declared independence from the internet. The future isn't predicted, it's imagined. Sometimes, it starts with a single